lovely people, I'm Jack and welcome to Guitar Elevation. This channel, which is all about helping you elevate your guitar playing so you could play anything you dream of. In this cool and quick lesson, I'm going to show you how you can play open power chords, and then how you can play open power chords with zero noise, and how you can just like strum the hell out of your guitar and still get an amazing sound. And number 3, how to sound like AC/DC, because if we do all of that, we will eventually sound like AC/DC. Alright, so without further ado, let's jump right into it. So the first thing I want to do is just explain really quickly what a power chord is. So a power chord is basically a chord. That's so deep. So it's basically a chord, and it's made of a root and then a fifth. What does that mean? So for example, if I want to play a power chord, for example a G power chord, this one, or this one, or this one, or this one. Anyway, what I have to do is decide what power chord I want to play. So in this case it's a G, so I go to the G note. This is a G note here on fret number 3 on the low 6th string. And what I gotta do from here is play the major scale and count up to 5. In case you don't know the major scale, don't worry. It's gonna be G, A, B, C, D. So that's the 5th note. And that's how I build my power chord. It's the G note plus the 5th, which is the D note. Now, of course, I can double those notes. If I have 2 D notes and 1 G, or 2 G, 1 D, or 2 G, 2 D, doesn't matter, it's still a G power chord. Alright, so let's start with the first power chord for the day. The first power chord for the day is the E5. When I say 5, it means it's a power chord. So the E5 in open position is this one. So this E5 is used and abused by all metal and rock bands out there. Here's what I do. I gotta use my index finger in order to bar the A and the D strings, string number 5 and string number 4. I put my index finger on those 2 strings like that. But what I also do with my index finger is mute all the other strings that are underneath string 5 and string 4, like that. I don't know if you can see that. So here's what my index finger is doing. It's just muting all the strings. It's just muting all the strings that are under string number 5 and string number 4. And that way, even if I play more than the first 3 strings, everything is muted. So this is how I can actually strum all of the 6 strings and still only get the sound of those 3 strings coming out. Lots of times with intermediate and beginners guitar players, what we get is this, you know, which we don't want. Alright, so that's about the E5. Now let's move to the A5, A power chord. It has the same form, which means I'm gonna use my index finger to bar the notes, the needed notes. All I have to do to move from the E5 to the A5 is just to go up 1 string like that. Of course, going up higher in pitch. So it's basically going down on your guitar. Going up in pitch. So now I'm barring on fret number 2, string 4 and string 3, D and G strings. And like I did before, the first 2 strings are still muted. You could also, if you want, use your thumb to mute the low E string. It's not a problem if the low E string sound comes out, but let's just decide to mute it for now because we'll need it later on. So all I have to do is just lay my finger here. Some people, what they do is this, they squeeze too much and then they end up making this F sharp note. We don't want that. We just wanna lay here so it mutes that string. Do you want to hear it? Let's hear it. Alright, so that was the A5. Now let's go all the way to D5. Hey guys, really quickly here, I would appreciate it a lot if you would hit that like button, comment something below, and subscribe to the channel. That would really help me keep growing and putting content out for you guys. Now back to the lesson. We're gonna move to D5. However, what I'm gonna do here is keep my thumb like that, the way I put it when I was fingering the A5. All I'm gonna do is keep my thumb like that and then put my index finger on fret number 2 on the G string, which is string number 3, and my ring finger on fret number 3 on the B string. Don't go putting the chord like that. I mean, you can, but the D5 originates from the D chord. And if you wanna play the whole chord, then you're in a better position to do so if you have this here and this here. I see lots of people doing that. It's not wrong, but it's not right. Okay, so let's say it's not efficient. Okay, so that's why I stick to the 1 and 3 here. My thumb is muting the low E. Now I'm gonna use either the index or the ring finger to mute the high E string. So you could do that by just doing this movement. And making sure one of those fingers is actually in contact with the high E string, so it mutes it like that. Oh Lord, that sounds amazing. All right, let's move on to the G5. Now the G5 is a little bit tricky. Let's start with the G form of a G chord, you know, the open chord. What I'm gonna do is move this finger up and put it on fret number 3 on the B string. And I'm gonna try and mute with my fingers the high E string, just like I did with the D5. I personally muted with the second finger. You can see that over here. So I'm able to just mute the strings just by, you know, touching the flesh. Anyway, so you can use any finger you want in order to mute the high E string. And then we need to mute the 5th string, which is the A string. I do so using the second finger as well. I just lay it there. You know, I do this movement and I lay it there on the A string. And that way I have the low E sounding, the D coming out, the G coming out, and the B string coming out as well. So that's how you form open power chords, number 1, and that's how you mute them, number 2. Now, all we have left to do is to sound like AC/DC. So what we need to do is now, every single time you have a riff that has the E5, the A5, the G5, or the D5, you can turn that riff into an open power chord riff, and it will sound close to what AC/DC do. So for example, let's suppose I'm playing Rock You Like a Hurricane by the Scorpions. So I have an E5, I have a G5, I have an A5, I have a C5, and I have a D5. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 chords that could be turned into open power chords. So let's hear how it sounds with open power chords. And you see, I'm really playing hard here. I'm trying to snap some strings here. Alright, so if you mute those power chords correctly, there's no reason why you can't strum the whole thing. Try this out on some of the songs you like that contain those kind of power chords. I can give you a hint, the Black Sabbath riffs contain lots of these power chords. You can try that out. See how it goes. Let me know if you like that, and let me know if you like the way those riffs sound using the open power chords. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Leave questions in the comment section below. If you need the diagrams for these power chords, don't forget check the link below and sign up for free. You get the tabs and the diagrams for this lesson and all the other lessons for free. See you next time.